Hey everybody, I'm just Dave, and before I begin, I just want to say thank you to my handful of subscribers. You guys are great. It's super exciting. It's super motivating, and I just broke 100 views, which that's pretty cool. Not gonna lie, I never really expected that to happen, but it did. So here I am with another video. This one's gonna be a little bit different because this one's gonna be mostly aimed at players. These are the 5 things that I recommend as guidelines for first-time player characters. This advice can be really useful to you as a DM, though, because a lot of what you do as a DM is going to be teaching players how to play better, coaching them through making their characters, especially with new players, because they're really going to need the guidance. And the more effectively they learn how to play a character, the easier it is for you to run a campaign effectively, and the easier it is for you to build a story around their characters. So without further ado, here are the 5 things that you should consider when making your first character. So the first thing that you should consider when making your character is that you should really play you. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you should make your first character be similar to you in personality and drive, motivations, etc. Go ahead, add your fantasy flair to it. That's a good idea. You really want to make them, kind of fit the setting and fit their, the race and class and those things you pick. But ideally, they should be similar enough to you. This will make it a lot easier to jump into the mind and the skin of your character so that you never have to ask yourself, am I role-playing or am I just letting me bleed through? It'll also make deciding what kinds of abilities you want, what kind of paths you want to go down, and what your character's motivations are that much easier because it's basically what you would be if you were in the skin of, say, an elf or a dwarf in this fantasy setting. So the second thing that you should consider when making your character is that you should really try to keep it simple. Your first character should be easier for you to understand. I usually recommend picking a class like Fighter or Barbarian or Paladin, one of the ones that comes with, a collection of useful abilities, but isn't overwhelming in the amount of preparation they require. In 3.5, playing a Cleric or a Wizard can be extremely taxing. Picking what spells you learn and which ones are prepared each day, whether or not you have the material components, etc. There's all kinds of things that go into it. And it can really sort of make or break the game for you in that amount of complexity available to your character. Even rogues, with their plethora of skills in 3.5 and their baskets full of skill points, can seem a little bit overwhelming in the way that you need to play them. Picking a class that is a bit more simplistic will give you more room to sort of learn how to play your character instead of focusing on the mechanics and having to chase numbers all over your character sheet. So for ease of use, and for ease of first-time playing, try playing a simpler character. Number 3 is play something that you think you'll enjoy playing, not necessarily what you think will be most effective. A lot of players get hung up on this when they're making their characters, both new and old. They ask what the part is made of. You get people who say things like, I kind of wanted to be a half-orc wizard, but I don't think that's going to be terribly effective. Or they, say somebody leans over and says, no. If you're going to play a wizard, you really want to play some kind of elf. Or, you're going to be a barbarian. You definitely want to be a half-orc. They're the best barbarians. Don't worry about that stuff. Play a character that you want to play. And if your DM is good, and this might be a bit controversial, if your DM is good, they will make it work. To put it simply, if you play a character that you think you'll enjoy more, you'll be more invested in the character. You'll want to play them more. You'll want to stay in that character more, and you'll make decisions that more align with your character. And ultimately, you'll be more invested in what's going on in the world because you like your character. And generally speaking, we're more invested in characters we like. That being said, number 4 is don't play a joke character. I'm a gnomish barbarian who's going to only dual-wield shovels. I'm going to play a sorcerer who has 8 different personalities that all change every morning. And everyone has a different alignment. And everyone has different spells. Like any joke, if told enough times, it gets stale, and people stop laughing. Same thing with your character. It might be funny the first couple of sessions, but after a while, both you and everybody around you gets really sick of the joke, and they kind of just want things to move along. But when your character's identity is built around this overused joke, you can't escape it. I've had players who played these joke characters a lot, and it never lasts long. It never stays fun. It never stays interesting for anybody in the party. So when you're making your character, don't make a joke character. It's fine to speculate or talk about the possibilities of playing a gnome barbarian who only dual wields shovels. But maybe just shelve that for a one-off session where the joke doesn't get old before the story does. 5 is a really simple one, and a good one to end on, and that's when you're picking a name for your character, pick a name that you can actually say. Not just you, though, one that the DM can say and your fellow players can say. When you're playing D&D or any tabletop where you play a single character, you want to be referring to each other by your character's names instead of your actual names, because really you're playing the character, not you. If you can't say the name, and if other people can't say the name, then they're going to start referring to you by your name, or they're going to try to find ways around saying your character's name, and that's sort of the first step of losing the character's identity. Because if all they ever do is address you directly instead of addressing your character, are you really playing your character, or are you just piloting a block of stats around? So when you're making your character, try to find one that you like, it's catchy, easy to remember, fits the theme, but most importantly is one that you can actually say. You won't regret it, trust me. So those are my 5 guidelines for making your first character. Hopefully they make the process that much easier, and in turn make your first game one of many. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you have any suggestions for my next video, or any of my videos coming up, I'll do my best to address those. Until then, please stay safe, take care, and I'm just Dave. Bye. Are you done? Are you done? I'm trying to record here, Tom. You keep chewing. You're making all kinds of crunchy noises. This name is 5 parts apostrophes and 2 parts letters.